We're going to be looking for information on the people we're looking at through public records, learning services, all this great stuff. So let's start, and I like to have a little fun with these classes. So I'm not the only one who got dressed up today. My slide deck, I got me a little Cinderella here, and pre-interview. I don't know, with 1,000 people on the call, what kind of interviews are you doing? What kind of cases do you work? Are you talking security interviews? Are you talking about human resource interviews? Are you talking about, what kind of interview? Well, let's go to the most basic, visceral interview we can have, a relationship. You met somebody. You met them on Tinder, OkCupid, all social media pieces. Why is that person putting something out there? Hey, are they looking for love? Are they getting bored at home, which means that they got somebody? Or did they just have someone, it didn't work out, and now you're going boing because you're the rebound? Why are they coming after you or your target, your particular individual? Do they have companionship to offer, security, sex, money, access into things, or hey, it's just an excuse for a night out? Just make this personal. What kinds of avenues do you have for offering, or what avenues do you have to offer somebody? And everybody has something to offer. You're a great breadwinner, you're funny, you're rich. You look at some of those couples you see out there and you ask yourself, like, what is that? Well, why are we going to look them up? Now, that's just the personal side of why we do pre-interview. And when we're talking about dating, pre-interview means before you go out on your first date, oh, heck yeah, you Google them first. Don't be surprised. I have friends out there in the market looking for love, and they say, well, I just want to find, that one Mr. Right, and he seemed really nice. I didn't look him up. My first thing is give me his last name, give me where he's writing you from, give me this. I'm looking this guy up. And I had a girlfriend go out on a date the other day. I knew more about him than she did in the hour-long conversation she had on the phone. So, and I told her before she went on a date, I said it's not going to work out, and shockingly, it didn't. What if we're doing background checks for work? We're looking then specifically not at Tinders and OkCupids. We're looking at LinkedIn, Facebook, Craigslist. What do they have to offer? Why are they coming over? Hey, there might be something great you're offering. You might offer more money. They could be bored at their job, or they're trying to step up. They're working. Why are they coming to us? Companionship, security, sex, money, access, and an excuse for a night out. That sounds familiar to the last slide, doesn't it? Well, you know what it is? It's really all the same thing. It really comes down to they're coming over because we have something that they want. We have something they want, and they want a slice of that. So companionship, security, we're talking better opportunities. We're talking more advantage towards growth, within your profession or within your personal life. Sex and money, well, money, definitely. You want more money. Sex shouldn't be part of the negotiation. But I do wonder, I see some job offerings going out there, and, the people are moving over because it's more fun. And that sounds far out there, right? My office for a long period of time was a very quiet office, very quiet. I took very good care of the people who worked for me, but you're talking analysts who sit behind computers all day long, and they don't really talk much to each other except ask casework because they're busy staring at a computer screen. The office manager I had was looking for interpersonal office companionship, just, someone to talk to, someone to meet. She was single, she was lonely. Well, guess what? She ended up leaving because this is not the kind of company you come to meet with people. And, so you have to look at all these things here. She wanted a social life attached to her work life, and it wasn't a good match. So what are we looking for? What do? We Google them. We're all Googling them, okay? Everybody starts off with, who is this person that's going to talk to me? I'm going to go and look them up. A good example, I've got to go and drop off a document for a fellow this afternoon for another investigator out of state. Not my normal purview. For me to get out of my office, it's got to really be compelling. But I said, I'll help them out because they need something done within a day, and, budget was wide open. I'm like, fine, I'll get in the car and drive out there. I'm not just going to walk into this guy's office. I Googled the heck out of him first. I know what he looks like. I know what kind of car he drives. I know all of those things about him. Just, in 10 minutes, I found out everything about the guy. I know when he goes to work. I know where his office is. I know what his secretary is. And I know enough to just charm my way into the front door and say, hi, I'm Sally, and I'm here to just drop off this document for you. So a lot of that. Then once we're done with the Googling, we're looking at all the other information that we could get. So we established in 30 seconds we're going to get everything we could get possibly out of Google. So long as we organize it, we're going to be getting really good information. Then we're going to take those leads and we're going to start using our Pro Tools. And just to give you an example of what's happening here, you'll see that a search, all right, Tara Hetherington, I made up this name. So Tara Hetherington in Google pulls up LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, I'm getting all those hits right away, immediately right in the search results. And it's important to know that because what you'll see there is anything that's in social media first before all the ancillary data. And we're going to go to Google in a minute, and I'm going to show you what this means and how I'm phrasing this, how this makes sense for your investigation. But just by entering somebody's name into a Google search, if that person has a social media presence, it will show up right away at the top in your top 20, top 30 hits. So how do we make that even smarter? Now, we're looking all over the country, all over the world. Google doesn't discern by, just New Jersey or just Canada or just, Toronto. They need to know what you're looking for where. So you have to specify, and we're going to do that with our proximity searches using our asterisk. And if you see in the slide here, New York and Yankees, because New York is a phrase that's very popular by itself. Yankees is a word that's very popular by itself. I did a search here for a guy named Carlos Gonzalez, and I said, notice the name, Carlos Gonzalez, in quotes. So I keep that contained, and it doesn't just give me all Carloses and all Gonzaleses. And I said right next to, with the asterisk, Camden Police. And then Carlos Gonzalez. So better to show you with an actual search than to sit here and just kind of meander on. Carlos Gonzalez. Okay, assuming that this is how the name is properly spelled, with the Z's. So I did a search there, Carlos Gonzalez. Hey now, you've got 90 million results. Okay, as investigators, especially doing pre-interview, that obviously means that this is only one part of the whole phase. You've got to go and sit in a room and talk to this guy. So you don't have all day to look at 90 million results. You really have to get down to the answers very quickly, so this is what we're going to do. First thing you learn in your proper searching is put it in quotes. Carlos Gonzalez is now a phrase, which is technically known as a string search. C must be followed by A, must be followed by R, and then that little space in between is respected. Okay, Google respects that space, so if there was a hyphen there, perhaps I'm not looking for a Carlos Gonzalez, but perhaps I'm looking for a Sierras Gonzalez, the two last names of a person. And sometimes they hyphen, sometimes they don't. Doesn't matter. So long as it's in quotes, take the hyphen out. Google respects the space. My 90 million results gets down to 416,000. That's way, way better, okay? But that's still, I still don't have all day to be sitting here and looking for this guy. So talking about my asterisk, I could start adding words like baseball. And I could say, hey, I know this guy to be a baseball player. Well, I knocked off about 100,000 hits there. If I really want to kind of get in tight, and let's hope Google works with us, notice I have the asterisk I just put into my little search there, highlighting it with my blue, but there's a space on each side of there. And in that search, Google doesn't always behave. It actually increased the numbers, but logistically, technically, it should decrease the number because they're looking for the phrase Carlos Gonzalez within, that's what the asterisk does, 15 words of baseball. If I were to narrow this down and like pick a town, let's say I'm looking for somebody specifically to a town, Carlos Gonzalez, who lives in Paterson, New Jersey, okay? So I'm going to put in Paterson. The unique business with the town of Paterson is it only has one T, unlike the other spellings of Paterson. 356,000, asterisk, 15. So I'm going to take one little step back to show you how this worked. Instead of just looking for a guy by his hobby or his profession, which was baseball, I said Carlos Gonzalez within 15 words of the town named Paterson. and I went from 356,000 to 15 results. And it's very telling. The town of Patterson has a strong Latino community. So I start getting results that are really targeted mostly on, and I'm seeing this here, White Pages, Spokio, Intellius, Instant People Finder. You know what all those are? Those are all White Pages websites. Those are all public record websites. You really won't find that in Canadian searches. If we were looking up somebody in a Canadian town, it would be a very different search because Canada doesn't have public records as accessible. Not completely incomplete, but they're not as accessible in Canada as there are in the U.S. because of the Privacy Acts. So that's just one half of it. Remember Carlos Gonzalez started with something like 17 million hits? Well, keep in mind, and as I'm typing this up, you'll notice that even his name starts offering me all kinds of alternatives. Because one thing you know, especially with Latino names, but Indian names, any woman's married name, a lot of hyphenated names pop up. So he might be Carlos something Gonzalez. Or what if the person you're searching for is Carlos Hank Gonzalez, or any of these searches I just found? Carlos Eduardo Gonzalez, Carlos A. Gonzalez, Carlos, there's a lot of Eduardos that pop up at top, Varion, Santa Maria, Carlos I. Gonzalez. It could be Carlos, I am the best ball player ever Gonzalez. So long as it's 15 words, Google will respect that. What that also does, though, please keep in mind, is it takes every variant of Carlos Gonzalez and puts it in your purview. So if you had 17 million results before, you now have 170 million. But because the asterisk is in the quotes, it's a separate search, I can once again add my asterisk and add my outside word and get a better result. So now I've taken, and I'm just going to say it out loud if it's not really super clear on your screen, in quotes is Carlos space asterisk space Gonzalez and the quotes. That's going to give me every humanly possible variant of the name Carlos Gonzalez. And then I said, great, that's too much. How do I narrow it down? Outside of the quotes, space asterisk space baseball, or the town you're looking in. And I'm down to 12 results. Look at those results. eBay, Pinterest, Wikipedia, famous birthdays. These are all, again, he's a famous baseball player, so we're going to get a lot of good matches on him. But you just took the name Carlos Gonzalez and globally narrowed it down to 12 results based on all possible variations. So if he's Carlos Syria Gonzalez, Carlos Hank Gonzalez, Carlos I Gonzalez, doesn't matter. You just took Google and owned it. And this makes an excellent search for the different types of things that you could be looking for. Now, if we were looking specifically at a company, you can also use the asterisk. It doesn't have to just be names, but I don't know, it's the something something kitchen something filters company. I don't know, kitchen filters company. You're not sure, you got half a business card. You know, you think it's filters, filter man, filter something. Put in the asterisk. Kitchen space asterisk space company. And I got 335 because we got all kinds of Kitchen and Company. Apparently there is a company called Kitchen and Company out there. Well, I know this company to be located in Toronto. So outside, I don't know who it is. I know he works for some sort of kitchen company. So kitchen asterisk company in quotes, space asterisk space, Toronto. Hello, 204 King Street Southeast, Toronto, Ontario. And then 26 results of all the possible kitchen space company names. And that could be anything. That could be anything that you're looking for. So, I mean, if you do nothing else with the whole slide deck, have fun with this. This is going to take your searches and it's going to smarten them up immediately. We have a gal now that we're doing a background check on. She has a very popular name, very familiar, Linda somebody, you know, Linda Smith will say. and I just need to narrow down to 3 jurisdictions and try to find out information on her. And I'm just, I'm taking that name, I'm putting it in quotes, and I'm asterisk. What else do I know about her? She's into surfing. I know that about her. She's done some modeling. I know that about her. So I put the asterisk, adds those words to it, and it just takes my search and it makes it go so much faster. Now, once I do all those Google searches, I'm going to start looking into the public records, because quite frankly, the public records are what tie the information that we find online together with what we're going to look for. And we'll see that, what was the public record world at one point really made private detectives something separate and apart from everybody else, because it would be a private detective going to a city clerk's office and knowing to run alpha searches on a name or a date of birth. Right in line with the private detectives, you would also have genealogists, people researching family histories, looking for, any record of a family member. So that would be it. Nowadays, it's all on the internet. I shouldn't say it's all on the internet. It's a blanket statement. Much of what's available, most particularly for the United States, is available via the internet. So we'll take a look and see what we can find and find that. Within the United States, within North America overall, these are the things that tend to be accessible to us. Litigation history, has the person been sued, has filed suit. Even, we talk, oh, this is all the United States, right? Well, if I'm looking in if I'm looking in the United Kingdom and I want to find out fiduciary responsibility, I will look for bankruptcies. And if you were going to try to look through the bankruptcy database, which is really not centralized there, you're going to spend a lot of money and circle the wagons quite a few times in order to get to that information. Instead, what you need to know is how public records are handled in that country. And for bankruptcies and insolvency within the UK, you need to publish. It comes out in an announcement. Hey, Bob Smith, can't pay his bills, and he has filed for bankruptcy, and Dorchester. So that's how knowing to do literature research, or what you'll see is media history, anything doing with newspapers, publications, or news articles. That I'll actually find my litigation within there. There's a reason why I'm writing the book, The Manual to Online Public Records, because this is all we eat, sleep, and breathe. This is how we make a living. But it doesn't take a lot to learn the nuances, because guess what? The government doesn't change that often. Once you learn it, it's yours. So take time. And in fact, all of the books I've ever written were bounced right off of this slide, because I would get a new investigative group in, and they would say, okay, how do we look at litigation history? And I would take them through all of the websites. And then media history, I would take them through all of the web, the online sites for media, LexisNexis, Factiva, No Services. And I would show them, where things were global, like all media history, or where they're regional, like litigation. So once I started realizing that, it's more than just a bookmark list, we started documenting that in the books that we put out there. But print this slide out and then just ask yourself, how do I get to that? Academic records. We just nailed the gal. Perfect example. Same gal that I'm looking up, my Miss Smith. She claims on her website to have multiple degrees from Harvard University. Well, the vendor, right off the top, is Degree Verify. You go to Degree Verify, the National Student Clearinghouse. Again, a very U.S.-centric site, but I'm giving you by example here. And I look up Harvard, and Harvard's not available. I go to Harvard University's registrar office. That's the key office that holds all of the academic history for a student. And I find out that they were looking for a signed release. I'm not working a case right now where I could go back to this woman and ask her for that. But her degree is not just any degree, it's a PhD. A PhD therefore means she had to write a doctoral dissertation. So I go to Dissertation Express and I look for the PhD thesis, and I nailed it. Remember that document Dawn was talking about earlier that I'm going to share with you guys? This is a very sloppy version. This is my background investigations worksheet. But let me just pop open the one that I plan on sending out here. It's my little due diligence map. And if you're just to look down column A, this is what I'm sending you. Look at that. Education verification. Go to this website. Go to that website. Litigation, licensing, compliance. You want to look at SEC or what would be CEDAR in Canada, FINRA's, licensing, databases we access, publication sites. here's all your litigation stuff. So this is the document that, we're basically, where I am, I'll take ownership of it, asking you for, so I could send you that spreadsheet of all the places, the actual websites you would visit. It's the very same spreadsheet I give to all my new analysts and say, learn all these websites and learn them well. Because this is everything you need in doing a pre-assessment background check.